All righty, Coach. There's losses, and then there's losses. I know it was a really tough one against Georgetown. You guys were up by 17 at one point, and you and I were talking before the show. There's a big difference between hoping not to lose and expecting to win. How do you accelerate that process? That's a tough one.
Well, that's where we are. We're at that stage. I mean, if you watch all the games we've played, I mean, we've been right there. And I just think, I've always considered us to be a second-half team. All my teams have been, and that's when we really put an emphasis on let's defend, let's attack, let's be in attack mode. And I think with this team right now there's a learning curve, learning how to win.
Yep.
And there are times where you got to put the pedal to the metal, man, and you got to keep putting the heat on the team, offensively and defensively. And I think when you think about the Georgetown game, they went to a little small time press, and I thought we kind of played on the back of our heels. Just think about it. We press every day in practice, and we're in attack mode, and that's how you got to finish the game in that mode.
What is it like from a morale point of view, Mike, off a loss like Georgetown, where it's right there and it's so disheartening? How do you get the kids back in the groove?
Those are the toughest ones.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones where you just go and get your butt beat, where you didn't play well, the team was just better than you. Sometimes you can live with that and go to work, but the ones that you were the much better basketball team, you didn't finish it. Obviously, we had a couple of days, we took a day off, and then we came back in and try to make sure they understand. I'm teaching as we go. We're teaching as we go. This is what took place, why we came up short. It didn't come down to the last play. Where Rasheem, he turned the ball over when he fell. It didn't come down to that. There were some things we could have done. And so I think I use it more of a teaching moment for them, and just to see where the guys are. But at the same time, there's so much basketball left. And that's what you got to make sure they understand. There's a lot of basketball. A lot of things can take place.
That's right.
And I've been teams in the first year. I'll never forget, I was at UAB, and we had some things going the wrong direction. All of a sudden, we kind of unleashed. And here we are in the conference tournament. We're in the championship game with a chance to beat Louisville with the ball, with a chance to beat them. And we go on and get to the NIT in my first year. But with that being said, there's a lot of basketball left to be played, and we got some seniors on this ball team.
Yeah.
I think they want to go out in style. So I think you got to paint the picture for them, and then at the same time, you can't paint it. You got to do something about it. There's talk, then there's walking. Let's not only talk the talk, let's walk the walk.
Yeah, if you talk too much for Coach Anderson, you're not going to be around very long. Eventually, you got to start walking, you got to start doing. When you feel that things are going awry during a game and you call a timeout, how do you try to cajole it out of them? I know you're not going to yell at them, but it's that fine line between encouraging but also still remaining strict to the virtues. How do you find that balance during the game?
Well, I think you got to make your point. I think more importantly what we're trying to do, and it's amazing. These guys that we have, I think these guys are great. Even coming out of timeouts. To me, it's not necessarily when we come from the timeouts. I make the point, but when you go back out, you got to put it into play. Not necessarily just for that particular play, for the timeout, throughout the whole course of the game. And that's where the leadership has got to continue to emerge. I think if there's one thing that I've been disappointed from the standpoint, the leadership on this team right now.
Herron didn't start the other day. Now, is that a game-to-game fluid thing, or is that just something that you think you married to the rest of the way? And what was the motivation to have him coming off the bench?
Well, I think sometimes you got to shake it up. I think that, to me, is the biggest key. I mean, I'm trying to get guys out there all on the same page who are doing, defensively, offensively, and but it's going to be, I think, from game to game. We'll see. Sometimes you have to shake it up, and I thought we had some great results from it.
You're up by 17.
And that's why it's kind of a heart to take that we let that one get away. I don't think Georgetown beat us. I thought we beat ourselves in that particular game. You think about it, for a whole half, we have 0 turnovers.
We said that on the radio. It was amazing.
In the second half, we had 12 turnovers, which is very uncharacteristic of our team. And so we just got to fix some little things here and there. And but I thought, even coming off the bench, I thought Mustafa was good.
Back when Champagnie committed to St. John's, and I said, hey, Coach, here's what he's going to do as a freshman. Would you be a little surprised? I feel like he's even better than a lot of people thought he would be this soon. He's good.
Oh, when he came here, he was 17 years old. He's getting ready to go to prep school, postgraduate school, to get a little more seasoning. And so I'd say let's expedite that throughout the summer. Come on up here and hang out with our guys, and but to see him step in and play with confidence, and and we've seen his confidence go up and down. But I thought the last game, I thought he was spectacular, and he had a double-double. And we need to see more of that. And I think that's a great plus for our basketball team as we look toward not only this year, but for the future too.
I really like him. Do you envision Champagnie as a lead player for a program, or a second or a third best player on a team that could make a run to a Final Four, an Elite Eight, win a championship? What is his ceiling?
I think in time, I think he's going to be. People will remember this kid here as a quick forward. A guy that can stretch the floor, can handle the basketball, can rebound the basketball. All of his is just getting stronger and just mature. And I think that's the biggest key. And his ceiling is going to be as high as he wants it to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can sit here and project this guy's going to be there. But I always think that comes to the individual. Is this same guy going to continue to put the time in and day out on his game?
When no one's watching.
When no one's watching.
That's the key.
When the players are.
I hear you. Creighton, you and I were talking before we started shooting the show today. Tough venue, good program, well coached. So different problems, different presentation from what Georgetown does with Coach Ewing. What do you expect from McDermott's team?
It's a team that can shoot the basketball. All their perimeter guys can shoot the basketball. They spread you. They want to get up and down the floor, especially at home. Like you said, it's a great atmosphere. And I think, as a player, you want to play in front of fans in a great atmosphere. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They went to Villanova and got them. So with that being said, I just think it's a very good basketball team coached by Greg McDermott. Most players, the point guard, he is outstanding. The Alexander kid is very good, and that's what I'm saying. They got some shooters, and so you know how they're going to play. They're going to stretch the floor, and they're going to try to attack you. So our defense is going to have to be really, really good.
You know what I want to ask you, Mike, and we maybe wrap it up on this. As a coach, do you ever have your confidence go up and down, or are you always steady? Are there fluctuations with you?
I think over the course of my career, I know that, even when some storms come your way, let's say the Georgetown game was a storm. Yep. Well, guess what? The sun's going to come up the next day, and you're going to have another opportunity. And so that's my mindset. Obviously, I probably played that game in my mind 1,000 times, as I've done with many, many games. Yeah. But I'm always trying to figure out how we can get better. I think that's the biggest thing. Are my kids giving everything they got? Am I, as a coach, am I giving everything I got? I think that's been my mindset, as I become a head coach, and I think it's they're going to be as I am, and so I want to make sure that I'm going to be upbeat. You knock me down today, you got something to deal with the next day.
I love it. You got to turn those storms into a red storm, right?
Red storm.
Ended on that, Coach. Good job today. Good to see you again.
Same here, Brian.
There you go, Mike Anderson.